My name is Ronin Martin, and I'm the creator and supporter of this channel. Shout out to all my subscribers, both new and old. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for future videos. And today is Father's Day. So, as a disclaimer, for those who suffer from a severe case of plastic truck nuts disorder, or these angry, bitter individuals who have stinky dildos that smell like foundry water, ass, and camel burps, this message is not for you. This is a celebration of fathers, dads, across every board and demographic. It's a celebration to you fellas because number one, it's overdue. And two, for the chicken heads who are out here trying to steal time, attention, in a way, and make justifications for their very garbage choices in men. To quote Stephen A. Smith, we do not care. Let's get into it. So now we got all that happy horse shit out the way. Let's get into the meat of the conversation. Today, we're paying homage to a very thankless position that is socially underappreciated, deemed as underwhelming, but honestly, a very thankless, tiresome, unappreciated, often disrespected, but key position in the evolution of not just society, but the individuals involved, especially that one who has earned the title of dad. So now, let's get into what an ode means. It's a noun, a lyrical poem in the form of an address to a particular subject, often elevated in style or manner, and written in varied or irregular meter, also known as a poem meant to be sung. Well, true to light, as much as I would love to sing, I can only do that in the shower, and I'm not doing that shit here. However, given my, celebrated wordplay and my personal cadence to things, that's about as poetic as you're going to get. Very blunt, but fair and honest. The reason why I'm celebrating Father's Day, out of respect to my long deceased father, and on the behalf of the oldest children out here, I'm not just speaking to you, but this does pertain to you. We are the first to endure the worst. Ask any elder child, and you will have countless stories in their respective ways. But especially to my peers who happen to be fathers, both in the civilian and the military theater, I deem you guys as the forward observers of masculinity. Now, ignoring the chatter from these edgeless oracles or chicks who run around with orphan hair, this is what a forward observer is. They serve as the eyes of the artillery, accurately plotting coordinates so that their fellow Marines can quickly engage enemy targets under the designation of 13Fs or 0861s, Marine Corps. Now, why did I choose the thing with the forward observers? For example, you have no idea what a lot of fathers have to endure, what they have seen, and what they take in as far as information to help guide your steps, be it sons, daughters, husbands, to their wives. Men have to move in this arena that we call society. When it comes to making the decisions as the head of the family, and yes, that will piss some feminists off, but so be it. When it comes to paying the cost to be the boss, a dad will always consider the sacrifices that a solid, forward-thinking wife will make, leading to his leadership. And he has to tally all that up in the benefit of his family, his unit, and make the best decision possible. Will he always be on point? Not always. Because some forward observers do have to drop a few bombs or make a few corrections in order to get people on target, which means he's perfectly flawed. But see, that's the thing about being a dad. You have to go and make sure that the troops behind you, be it our sons, daughters, and everything, and legacy behind you, make the proper steps under your guidance, under your direction. That's why heavy is the head that wears the crown. So yes, you chicken heads that suffer from plastic truck nuts disorder, and I'm gonna break that down in a whole other video. This is why a lot of you are stressed out. Now, respectfully, there are those who I do know who are mothers who handle their business the best way they can. But listen to me loud and clear. This shit ain't about you. This is the day for dads. You know, those demonized individuals who catch the slings and arrows to make sure that they see the joy in their children, the fruition of their family. And many view that as well worth it amidst the pitfalls that this society and certain dim-witted individuals profit from. So there's 5 things I'm going to say about this before I get out of here. There are distinct choices and consequences in commissioning F-19s to serve as 13Fs. Now, this involves a lot of ladies here, but you fellas too. An F-19, and this is a phrase coined by the Crimson Cure, a fuck ninja. You can take that for what it's worth. Many of us know what they are, who they are. Some of them are listening to this very podcast as you speak. However, because it's her body, her choice, it is on her, since she wants to use hypergamy, to make the best decision that will affect her life, or as a matter of life and death. So, when you surround yourself in the presence of F-19s, you have little to no excuse to explain why your life and your situations are FUBAR, military term for fucked up beyond recognition. Now, for the fellas, as a dad, you make it a point to excuse the presence of F-19s in your area. These are the ones sniffing around giving your children bad information or bad examples to glean from. Also, F-19s can wear skirts and FTDs too. This is where dads do their best to vet out stewards for their legacy. Now, granted, I'm not making any distinctions here because every respective situation is different. I had an opportunity to be a father to an F-19. And in a bittersweet situation or turn of events, she waited until Christmas to alert me that she had aborted her children, or our children, excuse me. I was supposed to be the dad to twins. And from personal experience, I think about it off and on, and it does weigh on me what could have been. However, I'm going to leave that to fate. Because trying to be a dad in the presence of an F-19 will ultimately destroy a man from the inside out. Many a man has endured psychological terrorism. In a sense, their relationships are because they commissioned a F-19, which on a mental sense is a kind of pedo, into the role of a wife. See, you can't promote shitbirds, male nor female. And this is why we have to be better forward observers when it comes to our legacies, which requires you to have a distinctive eye, meaning using your foresight over your foreskin. Learning how to read the room, read people, read body language. Because whether you know it or not, the universe is in your nuts. I know women give birth to children. Yeah, they're the progenitors of life. However, shit doesn't start without your commission. You oppose the environment. Even your sperm knows that. So yes, you will have a lot of Tinder dicks out here says she is God. Well, when you look in your pants, she needs to send praise and homage to the Big Bang Theory contributor, which helped. To whom it applies. Number 4, fathers are no doubt the needed pillars of influence that demand routine maintenance. Now, to all the dads, I understand you're getting steak and blowjob day, which should be more prevalent. But the thing is, as much as people want to value this high value man bullshit, which often gleans towards the external, it is your duty to make sure you take care of the internal. I know actual dads and fathers who are catching hell because they're underappreciated and they're programmed to allow such disrespect. And there are many brothers that I salute. LAR Movement, you got the Style OG, Chief Stay Sleep, and there's a myriad of other brothers out there who happen to be dads or fathers who do what they're supposed to do. I've seen how their families make them whole, help them heal. Are they without arguments and conflict? I'd be lying. However, it says a whole lot when your children celebrate your presence, when they trust and confide in you to be their genuine selves. I can say that as the oldest to my father. I've been privileged to many conversations and situations that most people don't even appreciate or even begin to understand. So when it comes to being pillars of influence, a man busting his ass for multiple hours to a thankless family, a job, or people in general, it never hurts to remind said father or dad, we appreciate what you do. Not just today, but in general. There are many dads who had to sacrifice spending time to see your children's greatest achievements, making the football team, excelling in that sport, winning those championships, those places of achievement or leisure to where they start bettering themselves, and all they would want to see is their father to be there, but he has to make that sacrifice to make things work. Same thing with the situations or wives who have to keep a house over their head, and they have to sacrifice quality time to make sure that his family is okay, even though he might be content eating a bologna sandwich with cheese. As long as his children are eating well, taken care of, looking good, doing what they're supposed to do, they're well worth the sacrifice. Because one of the most damning things a father can experience is to show his family as the signs of dereliction in his presence on his watch. Many military men know, and I've talked to many military fathers. They hold pictures of their families. They have many powerful stories, funny stories. But most people underappreciate the fact that they use those pictures and those reminders as means to go on amidst adverse situations and times. Many men during Desert Storm or during certain conflicts, they're told to suck it up. But sometimes all they need to do is get off to themselves, express themselves around trusted company, and look at certain things and remember what it's all worth fighting for. Some dads and fathers are under duress in the wilds of America or other places. And because they're parentally extorted, or they're casualties of parental politics, a lot of men lose the better part of themselves. Some are willing to break ranks and do something drastic in the preservation or even the comfort of their children. No dad, no father, no man should have to wage war to create a home for himself. And from this day forward, it is no longer cool for none of us to be emotionally homeless, which I'll speak on at a later date. Number 3, to be a father is to be commissioned, where a dad oversees the fluidity and optimum conditioning of his entire unit. Now, just because you busted a nut and try to be the hood version of Johnny Appleseed, anybody can be a father. I was a candidate to be a father. Yes, I always say I had auditions. But to be a dad is something entirely different. To be a dad, it takes more than just sacrifice. It takes forward thought. It takes conditioning. It takes moving around with maybe about a couple hours of sleep at best to juggle not just those responsibilities set at hand, but to ward off those dangers that your family has the fortune of not seeing and observing for themselves. Dads go above and beyond. My dad was a big kid, and we were known for having the video games and whatnot. And what I thought was honorable and cool is he opened the door to kids that didn't have their father to come play RBI baseball or Tecmo Bowl football or Mario Kart. And yeah, that son of a bitch would cheat, especially with RBI. But the fact that he made other children feel at home, at least for a little while, was cool. Even encouraging sports, talking about sports, seeing the well-being of their sons. Even when I was so frustrated because of the tension between mother and father. When I got in trouble at school, he made it a point to be a dad. Even when he wanted to whoop my ass, which I really deserved that shit. He told me, like, I don't even know if a whooping will even help you. And after he walked out that room, he gathered his thoughts, and we had a long talk about things. And it was reassuring to get those tensions, those misunderstandings out. And in return, when he was in his truck and he was basically weeping in disappointment, he felt that he wasn't able to be the father he imagined to be. It took the oldest son, myself, to tell him, we understand. The fact that you bring us to work and go fishing matters. The fact that you make time means everything. To sit there and play basketball or whatever you can, the effort means everything. There's some of us who aren't afforded that courtesy at all. Some of us are haunted by ghost dads. Some dads haunt the internet. Hey son, blah blah blah. And he's literally down the street. And granted, maybe the conditions between the mother and the father are so screwed up, they don't want to poison your view of them or the situation with all the unnecessary bullshit. But there are some dads out there, either she made a bad decision or because he wants to be an F-19. He's too busy bouncing around, living his third or eighth childhood. You have to understand the difference between a father and a dad. Dads pick you up. But also, dads appreciate the sage advice of their sons, who appreciate the responsibility of his actions because he knows you and your other siblings are watching. Even though some dads do their dirt, they make it a point to not let you see them in a very tainted light until you're older to understand. Number 2, dads need to become sensible givers by teaching the 4 P's to his family by fully mastering their importance through himself. Now, this is why it is important to understand the necessity of the 4 P's. Protection. As a steward of his family, the CEO, the commanding officer, or the fire team leader, he has to make sure that he leads with a solid, with a positive light, a forward head, clear head. He takes into consideration of the dangers out there and within. He's great with conflict resolution, or aspiring to be. However, he's an effective disciplinarian, not just of his children and not of his home, but mainly to and of himself. That's how he protects his reputation. Not just what he does in the face of his family, but when they can't see him. Problem solving. He needs to stop getting in his own way. Now, granted, there are some fathers who get so stressed out they submit themselves to their vices. However, in consideration of their children and his family and himself, he needs to look at himself unapologetically and seek the answers and show his children and his spouse and those beyond him that he is a problem solver. But if he can, do it in a way to where he can fix himself. Dealing with his mental health, dealing with his physical health, dealing with how he views himself. There's a lot of fathers or dads out here who think it's cool just to be shit on. Oh, well, hey, at least I get one day. Fuck that. When it comes to procreation, this goes way beyond sex. And thanks, Dad, for the subway ride here. But the thing is, as the children, the offspring of a father, a dad, it is our duty to make it cool for Dad to be himself. The real self he needs to be. Now, granted, some dads are stoic because, yeah, we know. But a lot of us know our dads. Sometimes we know dad's a softie. and now the daddy's girl. I mean, talking about creepy. Some of us know, like, hey, it's cool for dad to tell dirty jokes. It's cool for dad to kick back and shoot the shit with us. But in all due respect to him, we respect him and his position. We know our boundaries. We know we make him proud when we take the lessons he teaches us, and we become the shining examples of his leadership and fellowship. When it comes to the procreation part, it's not on us to use parental politics to drive a wedge between his wife, our mother, and him. It's our duty to hold him up as a father, because some of the children groom themselves to be shitbirds under the father's watch, which is unnecessary stress that we have to own up to. And provision. You as a dad are far more than a walking wallet. You should never allow that treatment to manifest, nor for it to stand on your post. You provide more than money. You provide wisdom. You provide leadership. You provide discipline, direction, insight. Many great things that many of fathers from this day forward will promote and celebrate openly. Fuck what society has to say. You do it because you know most times your father was hard on you because he didn't want you to endure the pitfalls, slings, and arrows that he did. You being the proper dad that you aspire to be will help you be the catalyst of breaking generational curses. You should take pride and umbrage in that, because there's too many tender dicks running away from being that man of leadership but demanding respect and praise, which is bullshit. Finally, Father's Day is every day. 25/8, 365 days. I know you got a lot of chicks out there with a stinky dildo that's strapped on in the front and say, happy Father's Day to me too. No, you're a confused, musty Decepticon who needs to know their place. You have your day. This ain't about you. You can sit on one and spin, and I hope you break your neck falling off that thing. But Father's Day, or the celebration of dads, is important. Many dads make a difference in the lives of not just children, but society in general. This is why I'm against that high value bullshit. Because just because a man is a plumber, does HVAC, he's a janitor, a teacher, all many different occupations. Society has taught a lot of these chicken heads to view you as less than. And there's so many people who do have 6 figures or better. But how many of them will pay top dollar for their children to even talk to them, respect them, recognize them, hug them, celebrate them? There's some who are so-called high value, didn't even get a phone call, an email, a text message. And if they did, it was very short. Quality over quantity will be the order of the day. Because as fathers, if you are not appreciated, if you have a lot of beautiful bums that you married and just think it's cool to give you some refurbished box, a bag of socks, and a tie, shit you can buy your damn self, that will no longer stand today. It can't. You shouldn't worry about these musty bitches who want to call your girl a pygmy. You honored the woman you chose because you picked her via the great things you seen in her. Some shit she did not see in herself. And with you being a dad, it is on you as the forward observer to flesh out the great things you see in your children. In return, you are deserving of that respect. You're deserving of that celebration because you being that forward observer, you helped them become the very things that they never thought they could be. Appreciated, celebrated at a level they never thought they could reach. Because of not just you, but the choices you made around you. My dad is no longer here. But because of his impact, because of the things that we talked about, the things that he shared with me, and many things that I tend to do, even if it's on some bullshit, I make it a point to consider what would my dad do. And it sounds crazy, but it isn't. Many of us who no longer have our father here can hear his voice. All we have is the flashbacks and the memories of those times, good, bad, and indifferent. But more than anything, remember those times where we made him proud and how we felt when we recognized that. So today just isn't Father's Day. To the very individuals I'm talking to, this is Masculine Independence Day. Not saying you go out here and I'm a strong, independent man. You're weird. What I'm saying is you need to set yourself free to be the man, the dad, the father you were meant to be. Unapologetic, unafraid, but openly and passionately appreciated. So salute to you brothers out there, across the board, both in the civilian and military theater. You guys are well worth the time. You guys are well worth the energy, the praise, the adoration, the fellowship, those broad shoulders. Sit there and share a beer with, and to those trusted confidants to share a tear with. But in spite of what society has to say, you do matter. And I salute the brothers who are content creators, not conflict creators, who take the time to lead the brothers away from the fog of shame, blame, and explain, and helping them get their asses back in the game. Not to get some ass, but to literally fuck the shit out of their purpose. So as always, never allow your comfort zone to become your coffin. Salute to you guys. Until next time. Peace.